We're going to call to order the regular meeting of the Woodland Park Planning Commission on March 12th, 2015. And the first thing we'll go through is the call to order and roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Beginning with Chairman John DeVoe.
Here.
Vice Chairman Jeff Watson.
Here.
Commissioner Paula Mattingly. Here. Commissioner Philip Mella.
Here.
Commissioner Jerry Penland.
Here.
And Commissioner Marty Probst. Here. Commissioner Tom Rollinger.
Here.
And Commissioner Charles Schroeder.
Schrader, and I'm here.
Thank you. And Commissioner Steve Stannard.
Here. We have a quorum.
We have a full quorum here this evening with all members present.
Unusual.
If the audience would join us for a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Really?
Before we start the minutes, do you want to introduce?
Yes, thank you very much. I am so thrilled this evening to introduce to all of you Laura Pellegrino. And she started Monday and jumped right in and reviewed plats and got sign permits issued. And so we're really happy to have Laura on board.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're looking, anybody have any approval, corrections, changes, amendments? Mr. Rollinger? None, thank you. Okay. Looking for a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second. I'm sorry, who seconded? Thanks.
It's rapid fire.
Yeah.
All those approve by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Requests and/or public hearings. Case number CUP 14-006 and SPR 15-001, Big O Tires expansion. Request for a conditional use permit and site plan review to construct 5 additional service bays located towards the southeast corner of lots 1A and 5, Block 18, Foster's Addition, with an address of 555 Chester Avenue in the Community Commercial Zone District as requested by the applicant Scott Koldehoven, owner of Big O Tires.
Thank you. We will begin with our zoning map and let you know that the Chester Avenue site at 555 is zoned community commercial, and it is surrounded by other community commercial properties in this area. And most of you are very familiar with this site because it was constructed in 2005 as the Woodland Auto Valet, which was a car wash and car detailing shop with a second story. And in 2008, Mr. Koldehoven was able to acquire this property and relocate their existing business that was operating on the corner of Fairview and Highway 24, Big O Tires, to this site. And you can see that it's about, it was 5 total lots initially, and the first 4 lots were combined as part of this, and they will be constructing on lot 5. And the surrounding properties to this area are a mixed use of various types of commercial properties. To the north of Chester Avenue, there's another auto repair shop, Daryl's, local veterinarian. And then around to the west is the Fly Shop and the Sonic fast food site. Across the street to the east, across Baldwin Street, are a couple of office buildings. And then to the south of this property and adjoining this property is McDonald's, and they have a parking lot that serves McDonald's that abuts the Big O Tire site. So Big O Tire has received a setback variance from the Board of Adjustment in November, and this is approximately the area where the cars are parked, and then over toward Baldwin that the new L-shaped 5-bay auto repair building will be located. So on your site plan, the main building, which is almost 9,000 square feet in the center of the property, and then the L-shaped new building, which is a little bit over 3,000 square feet, will be tucked into the retaining wall here, and then along this southern boundary, that's where the 5-foot setback was approved by the Board of Adjustment, and then a 10-foot setback on this eastern side of the building. The 5 bays that are proposed, 2 of them will be toward the back, and then there will be 3 bays that will face toward the existing bays that are part of the original building. You can see that the parking is distributed around the site, adjacent to an existing alley, which functions more as if it were an internal service drive with the fly shop and also Sonic. That this is posted at 15 miles per hour, seems to function quite well, and then a few more parking spaces near the freestanding sign. I'd like to point out on this site plan that there is a new proposed drainage trench right in this area that will collect the runoff off the building and the surface, and then potentially into a detention system. There is already underground detention tanks that serve the existing building. The second sheet primarily is designed for the enclosure for the dumpster area, and that will be a structure that is located back on this corner of the building, so it will be conveniently located for the trash trucks to be able to back in here and unload those dumpsters. The building elevation architectural design is going to mirror the existing building. So I've provided a photo of the existing building that shows the stucco exterior, the metal roof with a slight pitch or slope. This is a 2-story building. However, the new building is 1 story, so it will be lower in height and smaller. Has a rock veneer wainscoting as well as detailed columns and timber accents. So this building was designed by Dave Langley. The applicant's architect, Keith Meyer, who is here this evening, is drawn a couple of elevations. The west elevation that would face the alley will mimic the rock columns with the timber details. It will have stucco exterior and a similar metal roof. The south elevation, which faces the McDonald's parking lot, you can see the finished grade. It will be tucked back into the east side of the site, and then also to break up this long wall. Here will be the columns and the stone veneer. There'll also be some low shrub landscaping in that 5-foot planter median. The timber wall that exists is McDonald's wall, so that won't be affected by this construction and will continue to exist. The landscaping for this site was really established with the original building in 2005. The lot area at 35,000 square feet requires 25% of the site to be landscaped, which is not quite 8,800 square feet. That is what is being provided. It was agreed that with the first conditional use permit that the landscaping would count within the right-of-way toward their 25%. And I have nailed this down a little bit more in these conditions that the property owner will maintain these street yards since they are getting the benefit of the landscaping toward their requirement. So I'm showing you in the photo this landscaping strip that's up next to Baldwin Street, has a beautiful fence, a lovely stone retaining wall, and this area was beautifully landscaped about 10 years ago. And the owner is agreeable to maintain these landscaped areas, which give them a very nice edge to the property in this business district. There are landscaping areas that accent the existing building. The new building, of course, will be landscaped next to Baldwin Street and then along the McDonald's parking lot. The conditional use criterion we will go through those. There are 11 criterion, and the first one is related to the direct need and whether mitigation measures have been provided or identified. And this existing automotive repair service has been in use since 2008, has a high customer demand, which is driving their need to add the 5 additional bays. The impacts have been addressed and mitigated, including lighting, which will be fully shielded, and there is a condition rate related to that. Traffic, and I'll go into more detail about the traffic trip generation letter that was prepared and provided. But our city engineer believes that the adjacent streets can handle the anticipated traffic. In fact, this is less traffic than what was originally approved for during the car wash approval. Noise, garage doors are largely oriented away from the other uses, and it does provide for good aesthetics, nice aesthetics through good design and landscaping. Criteria 2 deals with not endangering the public health and welfare. The new addition will meet the international building codes and be compliant to all fire regulations as part of its building plan review and construction. Criteria number 3 is not to injure the value of the vicinity properties. Again, the properties around Big O Tires are all commercial type uses and compatible in type. Did receive a letter from Mark Weaver, who is a broker for Accent Commercial Group, and he states that he does not find that the new expansion and commercial improvements will not adversely affect the surrounding property owners and their property values. Public notices were done according to our standards, and we have had no people from the public contact us, so No news is good news. Criteria number 4 shall be in harmony with the area. Again, this fits the intent of the community commercial zone, originally developed in 2005 with the car wash and auto detailing. The commercial mix in this area is compatible, and the landscaping along the southern wall of the proposed building will soften the visual barrier between Lot 5 and the business to the south, McDonald's. Criteria number 5 shall conform to all city plans. The comprehensive plan maps shows this area as mixed use, which this is compatible with. The comprehensive plan guiding principle that states that a development should support and sustain economic diversity and vitality, which this does with the expansion, and will address transportation with criteria number 7. Criteria number 6, conform to all city regulations. We've reviewed the elevations, the floor plan, the site plan, and they all comply to our zoning regulations and find that it meets the relevant requirements. Again, the construction will be in compliance with the international building codes and the fire code. With respect to traffic generation, a trip generation letter was prepared by traffic engineer Eric Smith and Matrix Design Group. A auto repair shop with 5 additional bays will generate 62 trips. The original traffic report for the car wash said that the average daily trips would be 254. Based on 10 total bays, we could extrapolate the 62 trips to 124, which is significantly less than what the original use was. The city engineer believes that the existing streets and intersections can adequately accommodate the traffic, and no new improvements are required with this development for traffic. Criteria number 8 is with respect to the topography and environmental significant features. There are no environmentally significant features with this. No flood, or the floodplain is actually in the front of the building, underground in a pipe system. The Matrix Design Group did do an analysis of the existing conditions for drainage. The existing underground detention system was constructed in accordance with the original 2004 drainage study. When Lot 5, which is where this new building is proposed to be constructed, there was a section of curb that was removed in order to put in the concrete parking pad. In order to replace or remedy that removal of the concrete swale or curb and gutter, they now are proposing that a trench drain will be installed, and all the roof drains will be piped directly into this underground system. And these stormwater elements will be designed in full prior to issuance of a zoning development permit. The city engineer has reviewed and approved the drainage letter. Criteria number 9 deals with adequate water supply, waste disposal, and we've already spoken about drainage. The existing building is served with both city water and sewer. The new building is not planned to have plumbed with city water and sewer. They have adequate facilities within the existing building to be able to handle cleaning and restrooms. So the only utilities that will be attached to this building will be electric and natural gas. IREA has reviewed the proposal, and they are requesting that easements be established. They don't exist where electric facilities already are along Baldwin Street, and then potentially electric lines buried potentially between McDonald's and the building. The solid waste, you've seen the dumpster enclosure that will be built in conjunction with this project. The old tires, the waste tires, will be stored inside the main building on the north end where there's an existing overhead door, and that will provide for easy convenience to dispose of those tires. They are picked up weekly. Air quality will be minimally impacted, and as stated in the previous criteria, the drainage will be handled with a trench drain that will tie into a detention tank. Number 10, again, not to unduly increase public danger, the proposed development will not create any significant safety hazards. It will be designed in compliance with the building and fire code. And lastly, criteria 11 deals with architectural design. The new building is designed to complement the main structure with matching materials and color scheme. The final lighting will be full cutoffs, so to minimize any glare to the adjacent property owners, and that these elevations comply with the standards that we're going to talk about in more detail in section 5 or 6 of your report. So the site plan review, there are several criterion that are actually very similar word for word to the conditional use criteria, so we are not going to review those, but go right into design standards. And there are several applications here that we consider. The first being the building placement and the site layout in terms of building siting. The building siting complies with A, B, C, D, and E. The construction of the new building will be at the existing grade of the existing building, so that the area between these two buildings will function nicely. There is a 45-foot separation between the new and the main building, giving it good spacing and building patterns. The new garage doors will be accessible from the interior. The L shape takes advantage of this 150-foot depth of Lot 5 to tuck it up next to Baldwin Street. It minimizes the cut and fills, and there are no special topographic features within the building footprint. Orientation of the building is smartly done so that the 3 garage doors open just opposite the other 3 garage doors on the main building, and the outward walls are designed so that the rock wainscoting, the column bump outs with timber accents, stucco exterior, and green metal roof will shield a lot of the actual work on vehicles and the open doors. The height will not interfere with any view corridors. This is proposed to be about a 23-foot tall building, 1 story. Shadows will not cast onto adjacent buildings, and the buildings continue a pattern for this commercial area that's complementary to the Fly Shop, Sonic, McDonald's, and the existing building. The next use regulation for design standards deals with massing, scale, and proportion. And A, B, and C speak to having proportional buildings. This new building is about 2/3 smaller than the main building, but augments the main building very well. Its mass and height are in scale with the context of the neighboring properties. Moving into the architectural and design standards, there are design guidelines. There are 11 of these. The first 6, it is designed in a unified architectural manner, mirroring the main building. Uses a variety of materials: rock, stucco, timber, and metal roof. No highly reflected materials are included. The colors blend well with the natural surrounding, and the architectural character is enhanced with the bump-out columns, slightly gabled roof, and rock wainscoting. The design guidelines 7 through 10 comply. No blank walls are proposed. The exterior lighting will comply with the city standards with full cutoffs. Mechanical room will be located in the building. No exterior mechanical equipment will be shown. And the stone block retaining wall will remain with timber wall. The timber wall along McDonald's belongs to them, so that will not be changed. In summary, staff recommends approval, and we have 3 conditions prior to the issuance of zoning development permit. The applicant will need to submit their final site plan that includes the legal description and a list of these conditions on the site plan, the final tweaks to utility and grading plans, the final landscaping plan that will detail the shrubs and trees that will be added along that south wall, the final architectural elevations with notes about the materials and the color called out. We also will require a final drainage plan that will be stamped and approved by the city engineer, and the details associated with lighting. Condition number 2 is prior to the certificate of occupancy, the applicant shall vacate the interior lot line between lot 1A and 5. This is a fairly simple process that we record a document that vacates that lot line and assigns a new lot number to it. The utility easements shall be established on the east, south, and south portion and a portion of the west property line in accordance with IREA's request, and any new signage shall be approved by the staff under a separate zoning development permit application. And then the following conditions of approval shall be added to the site plan and shall be the responsibility of the owner. And that is that no outdoor repair of vehicles shall be allowed. That's one of the standards for auto repair. No outside storage of damaged or junk motor vehicles is allowed. And here, finally, the landscaping areas within the surrounding road rights-of-way shall be maintained by the owner. And in the audience this evening, we have the owner, Scott Coldenhoven, and his store manager, Robert Smith, and also the architect, Keith Meyer. I'd be happy to answer any questions before the applicant does their presentation.
Yes, Sally. Are there any, with a business like this, are there any environmental hoops that people have to go through, or the city does, in terms of
No, they're required to manage their waste materials, and Mr. Smith can probably tell you exactly how they handle the oils and, yes, coolants and those sorts of things.
They're all kept in
Oh,
separate.
we'll get you out of here. Okay.
Anybody else? At this point, it's the applicant's presentation. State your name, rank, serial number, all that good stuff.
Want my social security number also?
No.
Scott Coldenhoven, owner of Big O Tires up here in Woodland Park. Thank you all. Appreciate the time. In 2008, when we were in our other building, we had just kind of outgrown it. You know, the Beer Works building, you know, it's pretty small. And we actually had purchased the car wash behind it in order to convert the car wash into service bays and then use the building up front for our showroom and then some storage. Well, we started talking with the DDA and Tony Perry at Park State Bank and worked out a deal to buy the old car wash over here that was vacated at that point in time. And it's worked out real well for us. We, in the 7 years now, or a little bit less than 7 years, we've been in the new building. We have tripled the amount of business that we were doing in the old building. And, you know, we're at the point right now where this building is working out very well for us, but we are just in need of more space, more workspace. And so that's why we've proposed what we've proposed to do with these extra service bays. And we were, you know, there's also been a little issue as far as the parking spaces that we have, and I think we've worked that out. And one thing that's going to be nice about the new addition is that we will, rather than having cars sitting outside, not working on them outside, but cars waiting to go inside, they'll now be parked inside the building, so there should be less traffic in the parking area anyway. As far as the question about the environmental side of things, we have a company that picks up our tires, our junk tires, every week, and currently those tires are being stored in a outside storage area right now. They're not really visible to the public, but they are outside. And once we do this project with the building now, if you guys are familiar with that building, we have a tunnel. We have the old wash tunnel that we drive cars through. We will block off a section of that and actually store those tires inside so they will no longer be outside. So aesthetically, hopefully that'll even improve the appearance a little bit too. Now our oil, our coolant, that type of thing is picked up at a minimum every 2 weeks by a company that's bonded that does that, and they take the oil and recycle it. So, but that's really about the only issue we have as far as fluids, that type of thing. So that's kind of where we're at, and we're just hoping that you folks will all agree that we're looking to increase our business, which will increase the tax base that we pay here in Woodland Park, which goes to further development for the city. So that's where we're at. If you have any questions for me, you can certainly ask me anything.
We always like to see the tax base increased. Thank you for that.
Just not the tax.
And we also like to see the employment of more people. And I know
Right.
that you indicate that you don't anticipate expanding your employee base at this time. I think it's interesting, and I understand that you want your turnaround time to improve. I certainly understand that. But
Yep.
do you anticipate adding employees in the near future?
Oh, well, I tell you, certainly with the addition of this building, I mean, obviously one of the reasons why we would want to do it is we are a growing company, and I don't normally just like to spend money just for the sake of spending money. So if we're going to do this, obviously the thought is that our business would increase. Currently, we do have a sustainable, good enough employee base right now that we could fill for the work that we have. If we add these buildings, obviously the idea is that our revenue would increase. When our revenue increase, that creates more job opportunities for people. So absolutely, that is definitely the plan. I'll tell you, if we get to the point where we're not adding employees, then I did something wrong.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, on the alternative parking plan, first of all, on the question on services, are you going to expand the kinds of services you're offering? It indicates tires, oil changes, shocks, struts, wheel alignments, car batteries, brakes.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be doing anything more than that, or is it the book of services going to stay the same?
Now, the bulk of services is going to stay the same.
Okay.
We just don't have enough base space to get it done in a timely
Sure.
manner right now, what we do. And the other reason why we're not going to change the services that we do is because under the franchise agreement that I currently live under, I'm limited to that type of service.
Thank you. And then on the alternative parking plan, it indicates an increase average customers per day from 30 just to 33.
Mm-hmm.
But the letter from Eric Smith, Matrix, indicates a new trips generated 62 increase.
You know what? I saw that. I don't quite understand that, to be honest with you. What's that?
Let's get it on record.
Oh. Robert mentioned that might be a monthly increase that they were talking about, but
Well, the letter says weekday, average weekday.
Yeah, that is not correct. So
Okay.
we service about 30 cars a day right now, and we were thinking right off the bat that we would be looking at about a 10% increase in
Yeah,
traffic.
that's what I got for the
Yep.
numbers, about 10%.
Yep.
Okay. And then it indicates that, the letter indicates for Mr. Smith that one justification for the alternative parking plan is that there are an average of 12 to 15 employees who work daily and either carpool or dropped off. So they utilize a relatively fewer number of parking spaces, apparently.
Right.
Now, what if that changes, and that's your mix of people, employees come and go.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got some more employees who actually drive vehicles, so
Right.
it might inhibit and undermine the argument for your alternative parking plan.
It might, but historically, we've had a good mix of our employees that do carpool, and even Robert over here, store manager, has done the job of driving around, picking people up and dropping them off for work too. So that could definitely change. Okay, I mean, I can't predict the future by any means
Sure.
at all, but you are certainly correct. That may change, but historically, for the last number of years, we have had a lot of carpooling and that type of thing going on.
So Sally, if we can just get a clarification on the apparent inconsistency of the trip letters.
And I can enlighten you a little bit on that. The Matrix trip generation letter is based on the ITE, the International Traffic Code, or engineers. So he was taking that strictly out of so many trips per bay for auto repair. And he even mentioned that they didn't have an average daily trip, so
Saw
he
that.
took the Saturday trip.
Right, extrapolate.
Whereas the store manager was using what they've experienced. So you were comparing a standard in the ITE versus what they're experiencing in the field. So that's where the inconsistency comes
It
from.
was just such a glaring inconsistency that I would hope that if you double the capacity, that you'd see a bigger increase in number of visits per day.
But once again, the trips, the average daily trips are 2. So if you've got 30 customers, you're creating 60 trips.
Okay.
So it's really not that far off.
Okay, so he's just increasing 3 per day, though.
Yes.
That's kind of what's surprising if you're going to double the amount of available service space.
We're being a little
Okay.
conservative there, hopefully.
Okay, thank you.
Question, how do you operate those 5 bays without any water? I mean, that's just a curiosity to me. To clean, to wash the floors, that sort of thing?
I mean,
How are you
yeah,
gonna do that?
like to wash the floors, I have a faucet right across the parking lot on the other side of the building that I can hook into. So, And then I've got the bathrooms right there also. It's,
So you run hoses across to hose down the floors?
Yeah.
For drippage and that sort of thing?
Mhm.
Do you have a drain system in there?
in
Where's
the
the water gonna go?
Well, the water is going to go into that additional trench.
Outside.
That's correct.
So what about traps for antifreeze and sand traps and the different chemicals that most shops have to have in service bays where it traps that stuff from going into the sewer system?
Yeah. Well,
How do you address that?
if that's a requirement, then that's obviously something that we'll be putting into the building. So I don't know the rules on that, but I imagine through this process, we'll get that figured out.
Building requirement.
I think it does.
Well, if you put in the floor drains, you have to put in the sand trap. But a lot of places are now going to where they actually surface clean, collect the stuff, and have it hauled off by a company. Even like parking garages and stuff like that are dealing with those kinds of things. And so it's kind of changing a little bit. Because some cities don't even allow you to put any of that into the drainage system. They want you to pick it up and clean and take it away. So right now, that's what we're proposing is that they would sweep it up, clean it up.
Back in another life, a long time ago, I worked in a service station, but we scrubbed the floors with Tide and gasoline.
Back in the days.
It really worked.
Can't do that. Back in
grease pretty
the
quick.
Eisenhower administration.
And most of their business is changing tires and stuff. It's not like
Just a
building,
long
they're
ways
not
to go to
building motors
wash
and all
your
kinds of other
hands.
stuff. you know.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, it's not really an auto repair part of it. It's a tire shop that does brakes and shocks and a few other things.
Right.
You'll get to that part when you get to it. Okay.
I had a couple of questions. One, as I recall, the second story of the existing building was built out, I believe, maybe for office.
That's correct.
Is that occupied?
No, right now, it won't be occupied. We did build that out with the intent of renting it, and we had it rented for, a year and a half or so. And we found out right then and there, even though that the tenant had 3 or 4 vehicles, that created a little bit of a jam for us for traffic behind the building there. And so we actually... They moved on. They went to a different building, and we decided moving forward that we're just going to not have a tenant up there. It just creates too many traffic problems for us.
So it'll be vacant.
I'm sorry.
The second floor will be vacant then.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And how many square feet approximately on the second floor?
Second has got about 3,000, I believe it is.
Okay. Second question, since we're eliminating about 3,000 square feet of what now I think is a parking lot.
That's correct.
Does that create a problem with respect to snow removal?
I don't see that. We've got on the Baldwin side, we have drive-through lane with some parking on there, and that is going to be open when you're heading towards the McDonald's. That is still going to be open around that corner, so the plow trucks can come right around there and go in front of the new building, or in between the new and the old building. So no, I don't see that that's going to be.
And how about the storage of snow? You know, let's say we had a foot of snow, so you've got probably thousands of cubic feet of snow. Where do you put that snow on that property?
Okay, you want to point it out?
Well, there's snow storage up in here. I believe there's some designated over here.
Yeah.
And then probably
And down in that corner
We
there.
probably put some over here.
Right.
You have another area down the bottom on the left at the entrance, snow storage.
Oh, down here.
Over
Yeah.
on the right side too.
Correct.
And that's what was approved in the original CUP. Those are the same snow storage areas that were in the 2004.
So you don't have to plow the roof. That took up the space. Less snow to get rid of.
Hope we're not plowing the road.
Thank you.
Yep.
The retaining wall, when you're going to take down that fenced-in area there, right?
Correct.
You build there?
Yep.
Right in there, and the retaining wall goes over to right where that break is there?
Yeah, tie into the building somehow. We have to
Do you build another retaining wall there?
No,
or
the back of the building will be retaining. We'll actually So you have that steep slope,
The building itself.
the building itself.
Building itself will be.
Yeah, on that side. So it'll get rid of that really weird situation where you got that steep slope off the sidewalk and top of the Baldwin to the back of that fenced area.
Okay.
So then we'll just tie this existing retaining wall here, come over and tie into the building somewhere in here.
Okay. Thank you.
Jerry, the McDonald's timber wall. Timber walls are notoriously not very good, especially when you plant trees close to them and it look like you're going to plant a couple of trees in there. Have you checked that wall out? And
We're actually not gonna put the trees in that area.
Okay.
It's all gonna be low shrub,
okay,
low drought tolerant stuff, so we're not gonna irrigate. So that's, we've got a tree down here,
okay.
but you're right. We're looking at just like a little small aspen clump or something like that, and then big pine or something.
But you check the quality of that timber wall to make sure that when you build up against it, you're not going to cause any problems.
Right, the other reason we wouldn't put trees in there is IRE came back and wants a 5-foot easement.
Right.
This is an
Yeah.
easement now. So we'd rather not dig trees out, they gotta put an electrical in there, just
Right.
take some bushes and put them back in. So there's 2 trees around the elevation, really, that won't be part of the final landscape plan.
But you're not concerned about that wall at all?
Well, it is a timber wall, you're right.
Yeah.
You know, when we dig for the foundation here, we're gonna be all close to that trench at that foot. So if we damage it, we're just gonna have to repair it or whatever. But we have 5 feet.
Yeah.
It's tight, but it's
And the wall is, how
it's
tall is
not
that
very
wall?
tall.
Yeah, it's not very tall,
It's
so your
about 4
foundation will
feet
be
or something like that.
pretty close to the bottom of the wall anyway, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay. All right,
Yeah, we're not gonna be undermining the wall
yeah.
with our foundation.
Just following up on Mr. Ellinger's comment about the parking vis-à-vis the upstairs section. So you're currently not anticipating renting that?
Not at all.
Okay, but let's say 3 years from now, someone approaches you with a deal to use it and, you know, it's extra income
Yep.
to defray the cost of operations and overhead. But they're gonna add, they need 3 or 4 parking places.
Yep.
Would you, I mean, this might be a concern in terms of the parking plan, alternative parking plan?
I would tell you that would have to be like the deal of a lifetime, okay? And they're out there, I guess, okay? But right now, with what we experienced with our last tenant, just that little bit of traffic flow and us trying to move around the back and that type of thing, it did not work out well for us at all. So there was a lesson learned in that. You know, we put a lot of money into finishing that upstairs out, you know, and now we're not using it. So that would kind of go towards your argument a little bit of you spent a lot of money, so why would you not do that in the future? The reason I would not do that is just for what I said, is that with the additional structure that we're looking at do and the uptick in car count and business that we would have, I would hate to undermine my own business that is the core of what I do that makes my living by renting something out for, you know, $1,500, $2,000 a month. It's absolutely not on the table right now at all. So I can't answer your question in the future other than the fact right now I'm 100% confident that I have no plans to rent that out.
Thank you.
And we would
Okay.
actually have to bring it back through the process, I believe, if we wanted to.
Well, that would be a concern,
Yeah, and
is
we'd have
that
to-
according to this, if you accept, if the city accepts the alternative parking plan, then, and there's no condition for that, then you wouldn't have to.
And I think Mr. Mello makes a good point, and maybe Mr. Covenhoven will be agreeable to add a condition that the upstairs be slated as warehouse and stay in that category.
I'd be happy to do that.
Because otherwise I wouldn't be able to support it. There's too.
Sure.
And when we first looked at the project, we had these discussions, and the thought was, if they did leave it at office space, one of the alternatives was to go negotiate some off-site parking agreements. And after all that, with the way the business, like you just explained, with no desire to ever put anybody out there, that's why we went with the alternative
I
parking
mean-
plan based just on the business.
I wouldn't want to inhibit your ability to offset overhead,
Sure.
but the notion of off-site parking would mitigate that sufficiently. I'm just concerned that we meet the letter of the law with respect to.
I'm totally good with
parking.
that. If I had to sign a, you know, conditional, whatever you call it,
As long as it didn't increase parking,
I would have no issue with that at all.
maybe we can put that in, Sally.
Sally, what are the parking requirements for building like this?
I apologize, I must have skipped one of my slides for the parking,
saw
but
that,
the parking requirement for the bays is based on 3 parking spaces per bay, so that would be a total of 30. And the warehouse for the second floor is based on 1 space for every 600 square feet, which would require 6 spaces. So a total of 36 spaces is what the code would require. The alternative parking plan is suggesting to reduce that by 5 spaces. And it's because of their customer turnover and their employee management that they're able to function with 5 less spaces. So I do believe that by adding a condition D under 3, that the second story shall remain as a warehouse category, will keep it within what we've planned for.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your time.
At this point, we'll open up the public comment. Do we have anybody signed up? We have no one. We have no one signed up. At this point, we'll close the public comment. I don't think we need rebuttal from the applicant. Any final questions from the commission, to staff, or to the applicant? Anybody? If not, this would be a good point for deliberation and a motion.
Well, just a comment. I think it's very positive for the city, and we referred to it in terms of the tax base. But to see a thriving enterprise in the city is it really feels good.
That whole project with the DDA, and because I was on the DDA at that time, putting that whole plan together made a good use and out of a structure that sat there without a good use. And just a little antecedent. When the other owner had it, they couldn't rent the upstairs because the noise from the car wash drove everybody crazy. And they built the elevator shaft in their non-standard size, and they couldn't put an elevator in there.
We got one in.
You got one in?
Yeah.
Good for you. Great place to take tires up and down.
Yeah.
So we're at somebody gonna make a
Well,
motion?
I would move to approve as stated with the 3 conditions on page 11, with the additional caveat that Sally Riley indicated.
That
Parking.
The second story of the main building shall remain as a warehouse category for use.
Great.
Yes.
I'll second.
Ms. Pellegrino, we have a motion and a second.
We do. So I will begin with roll call for Commissioner Mella,
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks,
Yes.
Chairman, or Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Mattingly,
Yes.
Commissioner Penland,
Yes.
Commissioner Schroeder.
Schrader, yes.
Sorry.
We'll get it right sooner or later.
Commissioner Rollinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Stander,
Yes.
and then Chairman.
Yes.
Thank you. This case will move forward to the City Council's docket. Next Thursday is the first reading of the ordinance, and the public hearing with City Council is April 2nd.
Well, good luck to you.
You guys are all right.
You guys are all right, too.
But we're the easy part.
Put a good word in for us.
Good night.
Section 5, reports. Chairman's report, I have none. Commissioner's report. Anybody? Planning Director's report.
Couple of reminders. Next Wednesday is the traffic circulation plan that we hope that all of you will participate. Come to the Cultural Center at 6 o'clock. It'll be a couple hours presentation. It will be very engaging, so we'll hope to see you all there. And the monthly report is on your desk from February. And other than that, I did want Laura to just say a little bit about her experience in past history so that you become more familiar with her. And she will be presenting the case on the 26th at your next meeting.
It'll be hard to follow up in Sally's footprint. I mean, that was an amazing presentation, and certainly more time than I would have spent in front of the Teller County Planning Commission, for instance. But I'm happy to be here. I'm excited about all of the projects that are happening here in Woodland Park. It's a different realm compared to what I'm used to in the rural reaches of Teller County. I look forward to the Woodland Station, the traffic impact analysis, the traffic study, and the housing study that the city's working on, and all of the different exciting projects that are going on. I've been in planning for quite a long time, over 20 years, and I have a diverse experience in multiple areas in the planning field. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you.
So we're excited to have you. Welcome.
Okay, Sally, we need dirt on what's going on in the community.
We're in an official meeting, Mr. DeVoe.
What's going on? Any news to report about anything going on that you can talk about?
Well, there, as Laura said, the Woodland Station is really moving forward here. We should be seeing site plans for the mixed use Lot 2, their first building, where we have received an application from Arden Weatherford to build a pavilion next, just to the south side of Bergstrom Park. So he is starting with the beer garden property, and then Kip Unruh is looking to construct 9 loft apartment units and a few retail units as the first building on Center Street. So we're anxiously awaiting that site plan to come in. And so with the Aquatic Center and the Family Fun Center eventually, those two will build out much of Woodland Station. So that's really our big focus right now.
I believe the bowling alley people have got tentative approval.
They did.
For their lending.
Yeah.
And they're preparing the DDA TIF agreement at this point to put that all together to do that.
Karis Bible College received their building permit to start going vertical.
The walls were starting up today.
Yes.
There's a crane in there.
Yes.
I was pleased to read in the Courier that they're looking at putting in a electrification of signal at Center Street, which would be really the safest thing we've ever had for crossing at that point. So that's very encouraging.
Yeah, until a full traffic signal is installed, at least we'll have what they call a hawk signal.
Yeah. There's a couple down in the Springs. They work very effectively.
It'll be the precursor to a light there eventually is probably what it'll be.
We expect to get a CO on Starbucks here soon and Verizon, so yeah.
I drove by there last night and they're all putting stuff away and it looks pretty much done inside.
Yeah.
That's what it does.
It's a really nice job.
Yeah. So, good things happening.
Yep.
And spring is almost.
Anything else for the good of the order? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're out of here.